Believe it or not, I've been running more lately. I've been waking up at 5:30 a.m. because that's the best time for me to get my run in. I put my running shoes on and I do a 2 to 3 mile run to start my day. Now, this is not something that I used to like to do because honestly, it would wreck my day. I'm not a runner and running takes a lot out of me. While the run feels great, I would feel tired and unfocused after. That is until I started drinking Magic Mind. This little shot gives me the perfect boost to get over that fatigue I'd feel from waking up early and getting a run in. And that's because it has a bunch of natural ingredients. It has matcha for a coffee-like caffeine boost, and it has something called cordyceps mushrooms, which support higher energy levels and physical endurance. And that, I think, is the key to why it's been helping me so much in the morning post runs. So if you need a little productivity, energy, or focus boost, and you want to try Magic Mind, head over to magicmind.com/built and use the code BUILT20 to get up to 50% off your order. That's magicmind.com/BUILT and the code BUILT20, that's BUILT20, to get up to 50% off. But act now, this code is only good for the next 10 days. Hello and welcome to How I Built Bits, where every week I give you a cool tool, tip, or trick to help you be a better creator in 6 minutes or less. Clock's ticking, so let's get to it. Recently, I went through the arduous task of finding the perfect webinar software. I created a spreadsheet and everything, and it was a pretty hefty spreadsheet. It had things like cost and number of webinars and evergreen and all sorts of fun things in this spreadsheet that I could evaluate webinar software on. I called it Webinar Software Research. If you want to get it, you can become a member over at casabona.org/join. But, I wanted to see, could I create a landing page and connect it to ConvertKit? Were there reminders? Were there dynamic offers? And the cost. And ultimately, I gave it a score based on this criteria. But when I was at CEX in May, I had the opportunity to talk to Luria Petrucci. I hope I'm saying her last name right, of Livestream Pros. And so I asked her, what do you think is the best way to run a webinar? And before I tell you what she said, I want to tell you how I've been doing it up until now. I would create a new landing page in ConvertKit associated with the webinar. Then I would create a calendar invite, thank you page, and reminder/follow-up emails manually. This is all because I was trying to essentially use ConvertKit as my webinar software, right? Then I would create a new live stream on YouTube that I would point podcastliftoff.com/webinar to. And finally, I would use Ecamm Live to actually run the webinar, streaming it not only to YouTube, but to Twitch, LinkedIn, and Twitter. Now, there are a few things I liked about this process. Namely, there were two things I liked about this process. One was Ecamm Live. I love Ecamm Live. I think it's perfect. I think in any situation, I will at least use the Ecamm Live virtual camera because it makes presenting on screen so much more dynamic. And I liked the fact that YouTube is free. But I don't like anything else, really. I mean, this is it's like a 10-step process to create a webinar that software for $30 a month handles, right? And in fact, when I was doing this evaluation, the one that scored the highest, was Live Webinar, and they had a lifetime deal available through AppSumo at the time. And say what you will about AppSumo, but if there's software that you would legitimately use or were going to buy, might as well pick up the lifetime deal at least. So, okay, let's actually get to what Luria said. She said she likes Zoom. And I don't mean Zoom webinars, right? I don't mean that add-on that comes with your Zoom account. Just plain old Zoom meetings. Why? Because she likes the interaction. She likes that you can unmute people and have them participate. She likes that you can see everyone. It forms a better connection with the audience. And you know what? Everyone knows Zoom. Zoom creates a calendar invite. You don't need to set up a bunch of things. So after that conversation, I decided I'm in. I'm going to use Zoom for my next webinars. And now it's not as simple as just using Zoom, because you can't do a registration page unless you have Zoom webinars. But I solved for that. Now I break down this whole thing for members if you sign up over at casabona.org/join, but I'll give you the high level overview. I have a page over at podcastliftoff.com/webinar. That is the singular page for registration. I have a single form called generic webinar. And depending on the webinar, I change the tag. And so this form sends people to ConvertKit, but it also invites them to the Zoom meeting, which means that they will get a calendar invite automatically. So I'm really excited about this process. I haven't got to put it into practice yet at the time of this recording, but I will very soon, and I'm excited to see how it works out. So shout out to Luria. Thanks so much for that advice. And that's it for this episode. Until next time, get out there and build something.